Welcome back, everyone. Continuing my conversation with Ohio Governor John Kasich, talking about the state of education in Ohio.
We can do better. You got 40% of our kids graduating from high school going to college, taking 11th and 12th grade courses to be ready to go to college. And then what that does is it frustrates them and they drop out. Some of our graduation rates are terrible in this state. So we have to fix that. And what are we going to do to fix it? First of all, we want to have a third grade reading guarantee. We don't want kids to be pushed along social promotion, and then they wake up one day, because, you know, in the early years...
They can't read, they stay.
Well, they stay, but it's not as though they just stay. It means that starting in the early kindergarten, in the first grade, and the second grade, we get people around them to help them to be successful. And our superintendent of education says that kind of focus is going to mean we're going to have a lot greater success. We want them to understand when a school's got an A, a B, a C, or a D. We want to raise core standards so that we don't lower the bar so our kids look like they're doing better when they're not. And at the same time, we also want to put into the basic education of our students a sense of job, a sense of career. We want kids to start realizing if you want to be a doctor, you probably ought to be pretty good in science. If you want to be an engineer, you probably ought to be pretty good in math. So it's a comprehensive program to try to improve the system.
Mitt Romney pulled out a very narrow victory here in Ohio on Super Tuesday. You made some comments that were complimentary. You lauded Rick Santorum for his performance, despite the fact he doesn't have all the money, the organization. You haven't come out and really endorsed anybody. Are you just waiting? You're waiting till this process plays out?
Yeah, I want to wait till we have a nominee. Look, everybody that I endorsed either dropped out or didn't run. You know, so look, I've known Rick for a long time. You know, I've known Newt for a long time. I don't know Romney as well, but you know, I've talked to Romney, and you know, the reason after I kind of suggested to a few people, you know, that they run like Chris Christie. You know, I don't want to get into that. I have a big job here, and I don't want to lose focus on that. And when we get a nominee, then I'll get out and help them. But you know, until that time, that's just not a very high priority for me.
All right, but look to the future. But I'm going to look back on the general election last year, and I watched your speech following the defeat, the repeal of SB 5. It was very conciliatory.
Sure.
It was a different Governor Kasich. At least it appeared that way. And some say that while you are still, you can be stern, you can be a bit harsh, that you have taken on a different tone, more of a conciliatory tone. Would you necessarily agree?
No, I wouldn't. I think that you're all getting a different perception of me. I think that look, what we were trying to do, and first of all, this was something the legislature pushed through that I embraced. I signed it. I go out and fight for things. I don't you know, go hide somewhere. I don't think that's my role. But I think a lot of who I was obscured by Senate Bill 5 and you know, the big fight over that. But nothing's really changed. It's just that some of your perceptions of me have changed. And look, I mean, in terms of the speech I made the night you lose, hey, when you win with class. When you lose with class. I mean, you go walk around here and ask people, has John Kasich changed? They say, not very much. But you know what? There's some things that you're beginning to see that you didn't see before. You know, we give a couple $1 million to the Children's Hospital, and people are like, oh, I didn't know he cared about them. I care deeply about children. We're helping the disabled children to get themselves located in businesses rather than necessarily put in a sheltered workshop. You know, today we're doing something on human trafficking, trying to prevent it. Our prescription drug programs, which I started from the very beginning, you know, it's just the side that maybe you had focused on the protesters and the yelling and the screaming.
To go back to if you're not with us, if you're not on the bus, we're going to run.
Well, that's for lobbyists. What I said to the lobbyists is, it's not business as usual in Columbus. The people are going to be represented. You're not calling the tune, and either you're going to work with us or we're not going to work with you. We're going to get our job done.
I'm going to say you haven't changed since the last time we talked. That's what I'm going to say. You mentioned the casino. We're going to open ours in the spring, or coming up in May, not too long from now. But there's talk that Youngstown will get another.
They're going to get a racetrack. Yeah.
So Michigan is bandying about another 10, 15.
No, we're not
casinos.
doing any.
So how many is four? Is four casinos enough?
First of all, you got the 4 casinos, you got some racetracks, we got the VLTs now. We're not going to lift Ohio on the basis of gambling. It's fine that it's all happening, and there'll be good that will come from, I mean, there'll be jobs and some things. You know, there's also downsides that can come from that as well. You know, I think these companies are committed to making sure that we have most good, and they try to deal with the problems that come from it. But let's just, we're going to fix Ohio by having a diversified economy, from healthcare to autos to advanced manufacturing information technology to logistics. Look what happened with B&M Solutions up there. I mean, that's a logistics play, you know, moving stuff. North Baltimore, really, really cool stuff in North Baltimore. It could change the whole northwest part of Ohio. I mean, we want that. We're not just going to rely, well, we go to Gamble and that's going to fix us. No, 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 it's not going to happen. So we've got enough of it, and let's handle it right, and let's just not, you know, just get into some competition as to how many casinos we can have in a state.
Last thing here, Turnpike, the study going on, millions for the study, and you say that Ohio will always have a role in taking care of the Turnpike.
Let's get to
so where are you going with the Turnpike at this study?
We have a $1.6 billion shortfall for the projects that we think are important. How did we get there? Because politicians promised they didn't have any money to pay for these roads, okay? I was the first one to come out and say, let's stop kidding people and tell the truth. We need to improve I-75. We need to improve the infrastructure down in North Baltimore. We don't have the money to do it. Now, this Turnpike, we don't know what we're going to do yet. We're having a study to figure out, can we get, in fact, billions of dollars from leasing this Turnpike or bonding against the revenue stream, you know, where we maintain control, and we can use that money to do things like improve I-75 and improve North Baltimore. Now, that has to be done taking into account some of the concerns people have. Now, they talk about maintenance. I don't think the maintenance is that good on that road from what I gather, which means we may get less money for that. The other thing people worry about are tolls, and you know, if I use it all the time, what happens to me? You can put covenants into any agreement that provides certain things. The underlying control of that Turnpike will remain for us. But here's the thing. Either if we find out we can get billions, either we do it and use it to improve our roads, or we just don't have enough money to improve our roads. What do you want? I think you'd like to be able to have better access. To
listen to you, Governor, it sounds like it's almost a done deal.
Not if they don't come with the right dollars. I mean, look, we wanted to sell prisons. We sold 1. We were thinking we were going to sell 5. You see, what people can't understand, and I understand it about politics, this ain't about me. This is not about John Kasich. This is about, as the leader of the state, how do I help the state? And if the money is right and we can improve our infrastructure and move things better, create more jobs, then I got to do it. But we're not going to sell it on the cheap. This is like my stuff too, you know. I'm a citizen also. So if we don't get a good agreement, we won't move forward. And at this point, I don't know. We're not done with it yet.
An animated John Kasich, governor of Ohio. When we come back, the two of the top stories of this past week, the future of health care reform and the Trayvon Martin death investigation. Conklin and Company continues in just a moment.